Does Final Fantasy 16 even want to be a video game?
That was really funny.
I played about 4 hours of Final Fantasy 16, although played
That's the thing that made me 4 hours of it.
is a generous interpretation for what I did with that time. I fought a few things, all gigantic things to boot, but I have mostly watched and watched and watched and listened and never enjoyed. Well,
You never, like,
I mean, I think
the first 4 hours, you fight, like, one big thing. I'm like, okay, you do the kaiju fight with the Phoenix versus Ifrit, and you fight a Marble. I think it's the only big things you fight in the first 4 hours. So, everything else is, like, small enemies.
if you... So, you don't like the story. Bro, gaming journalists need a reality check? Bro.
The other thing I thought was really funny about this, was I love narrative. Just a random, like, throwaway sentence at the end of it.
Here's the thing, is like, I've got no problem with somebody saying that they don't like the game. And like, I can even understand why somebody would say that Final Fantasy 16...
I watch a shit ton of Asmongold.
Like, I personally think it's a 9.5 out of 10 game. And, like, I think this is kind of like
same.
what I said about Elden Ring to an example, to an extent. Like, whenever somebody comes in and they play a new game, the beginning experience needs to be absolutely fucking amazing. And one issue that I think Final Fantasy 16 has is that the game gets better and better and better over time, but the problem is that it starts from a pretty low point. And
It starts in, like, nothing but
cutscenes. I was
cutscenes.
doing the dungeons, or sorry, doing like the first bosses. Most of the time, like, you're spending a lot of the time just auto-attacking, right? You're just attacking. And there's not a lot of combos that you can do because you don't really have anything unlocked. So I think that you spend too much time without things unlocked. Like, if you got everything unlocked in half the time that you did, I think that would be better for the game. Like, that's really the way I feel about it. So, like, and again,
because I feel like one of the things about this game too, I'm not there yet, right? But we've got how many icons? We've got 3 icons unlocked. There's still at least Bahamut and Odin to unlock, and Shiva. I'm like 90% sure we get Shiva. So there's still a lot of unlocks left, and we have 2 more Mother Crystals, so we have like 3 more large story beats, right? We have a Mother Crystal, and then the final fight is probably how it's gonna go. And we're not even halfway through through all of the unlocks too, which means we might only get like the last unlock of like really being able to like mess with our abilities once we're like at the end of the game, which is kind of cool, kind of crappy though, just because your kit doesn't actually come online until you've beaten the game. But it's great for it's great for like New Game Plus. It like kind of makes you want to play New Game Plus.
And can you blame somebody? This is the thing, right? Can you blame somebody for feeling like the game isn't super exciting if the beginning of it is boring? Because, like, you can tell people, like, I don't like the idea that you have to play a game a certain amount of time to, like, enjoy it. The game should be fun from day one. It should be fun from level 1. Like, as soon as you start playing the game, you should be having fun.
But a lot of people stop playing a lot of video games.
Don't feel very rewarding. Well, it's mainly a story action.
I'd say most Final Fantasies don't feel rewarding. Most Final Fantasies feel rewarding. What are you talking about?
Combat game. Like, that's mainly what it is. It's not really about gear. It's not about some fucking, like, leveling up stats or anything like that. It's just about action combat and the story and it looking cool. That's what it's really about. So if you go into it expecting like deep character customization, you're not going to be happy.
No.
The game's fun.
That's one thing I kind of wish it had, was that your party like kind of became consistent at some point and you could like customize them a little bit. Oh, 15 is a good game until you start trying to play the story. The story was pretty bad at 15. I liked the combat, I liked the customization, I liked the characters, I liked the exploration. A lot of things that 15 had were really good. The story was in shambles.
Fun from hour 0. I keep forgetting the game has multiple icon abilities you can use. The game's fun from hour 0. I think it's fun but I can see why somebody else would think it's not. Does that make sense? 4 hours is very low. I disagree. I think that you should not expect somebody to invest 4 hours into a game and then tell them it gets good on hour 7. Like, the truth is that there are a lot of forms of media and entertainment out there. You should not have to wait an arbitrary period of time.
I will say this. So, 15 has a really large time lockout. So if you don't have a lot of time to play video games, the cutscenes themselves are going to take up a lot of your time. If you're like a parent who, like, I got 15 minutes to sit down, play this video game, and then gotta put my kids to bed or whatever, or like I put my kids to bed, I got like 30 minutes to play a video game, and then I have to go to bed myself. Those 30 minutes are gonna be spent in half of a cutscene, in like one cutscene. I kept pushing. Wait, what the? I kept pushing to finish the story. Sorry, my chat's like all funky right now, because I just wanted to hang out with the boys. With the boys. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a good thing to do. What the heck? How did this? You guys can't see it, but my OBS just overlaid my YouTube, like, randomly.
To enjoy yourself inside of a game. So yeah, doesn't have to work on playing, you should be hooked by then. Yeah, exactly. Same with TV shows. Yep, definitely. But for a review, I do think that, like, again, offering a review of a game without playing through the whole game, I feel is very disingenuous. I feel like you could offer out an impression of the game, but like to review the game, bro, no. Because you didn't play the game. You played this much of the game. So talk about this much. Talk about it all you want. That's important. But don't go and talk about this and then fucking expand it into this. So yeah, I really don't like that shit. Yeah. It seems to be contextualized around 4 hours. Yeah, you need to contextualize it around the fact that you only played it for 4 hours. Their feelings got in the way of professionalism.
Because one thing about, like, video game reviews that I agree with and I hear a lot of criticism about almost all video game reviews nowadays is I started to play the game and this is my take on it based on 1/120th of the game. Right? Like, I played 30 minutes of this game at a sit-down demo, and then I spent 30 minutes to write this review out so that my boss didn't fire me. Here you go, here's my game review. And it's not like they didn't play the game. Like, there needs, like, reviews where you actually finish the game are really important. And if you can't get those out, like, yeah, make multiple. Make one for a 4-hour review. Make one for a 20-hour review. Make one for I finished the game review. I do like how they put, like, the fucking the Game of Thrones throne behind them. Yeah, first impressions, exactly. But don't say, like, I played about 4 hours of Final Fantasy 16, and like he's like, does Final Fantasy 16 even want to be a video game? And like he like, this is like his final thoughts kind of. This is a final thoughts kind of headline. Right, not a hey, I've this is my first impressions of the game.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what it is. You make a good game journalist, though. Well,
during the demo, I mentioned how I felt like a lot of criticism that 16 is going to get is going to be the amount of cutscenes, and a lot of people have had that. And one of the interviewers had asked Yoshi P this. I watched this interview, and Yoshi P had said, like, it's an RPG. Like, what do you mean? Of course it's gonna be a lot of cutscenes. It's all about the story. It's been a long time since you, like, actually, like, looked at game reviews. Yeah. It starts off cynical. Yeah, that's one of the, like, so critics just in general in our, like, day and age have gotten a lot of shit. Right, they're just in a lot of shit right now because they're constantly they're just like, critic reviews are always like Metacritic is or whatever, Rotten Tomatoes, like, critic review score 50%, viewer score 95, or vice, or like the opposite. Critic or their written pieces are this bullshit, and it's either way they're divisive, and it's bad writing, and people can tell that it's bad writing is the thing.
I try to give games a fair shake. I feel like I am very critical about games, and I am also open-minded. So I do think that every single game that I have played through, I think that I have accurately judged its quality. It's didn't like the movie The Shining, nothing made sense. It stopped watching halfway through. Yeah, and well, that's the thing, right? Is like that feedback is valuable and it's important, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world, right? It doesn't. It's not a complete review. Start the reviewer. Further part of the story.
Right, that's it. It's not a complete review. You can't completely review the game if you haven't fully played the game. You can't completely review a movie if you haven't completely watched the movie. There's plenty of movies I haven't fully watched because I just couldn't fucking like actually fully get through it. I don't like sit there and be like, oh my god, this movie. I can't even think of what a movie like that. But I'm not just gonna sit there and be like, oh my god, I hate this movie. This movie was absolute garbage. I couldn't even get through it. Because maybe it's good at the end. Maybe it all comes around and like, oh my god, I actually really liked this movie after I fully watch it. But it's not a full review, but at least like a first impressions review was I couldn't get through it. And that's a valid review, but it's not a full like encompassing review.
Gameplay would need to do how to combat before starting. Maybe that's too much. I think if they just taught it to you earlier, but just ignore these articles.
A how to combat? They do a how to combat definitely. Like really early.
And slow and indulgent often resents you for trying to play it. What the fuck, bro? Like this is the problem with like, you know what the real problem with game journalism is? The problem is that these gaming journalists have to write 10 articles a day. Yeah. So you have to write 10 articles a day about 7 different video games, and everybody expects you to play each game for 20 hours. Well, you're never going to be able to do that. So what they do is they cut corners, they don't fully review the game, they don't fully look into all of the nuances of it, and because of that, they fall short and they're not able to adequately review the game in a complete way. And that's why you have people like, I'll give a shout out, like this guy right here. This guy reviews games after he 100%s the game.
I've never heard of this guy.
Like, this is just an example. Like,
yeah, there's a reason why journalism is kind of dying, and a lot of what you see actually take over for reviews is YouTube videos. Where does everyone go for their actual review of like video games or movies? They go to YouTube videos because normal journalism is dead because no one fucking trusts them and no one likes who they are or anything like that, and it's so inconsistent and it's so inconsistent and just not it doesn't seem like you're talking to real people too. They're so fake that you get an actual person telling you their actual opinion on YouTube and not on any other like media or anything like that. Yeah, on Twitch, just look the gameplay look like on games. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, actual reviewers critics don't exist anymore. They're gone because YouTube is the real critics, and video essays are really what's going to be showing you what it's like to play the games and what's real about the games, not some dude who has 20 minutes to play the game and then writes and uses Chat GPT to write his quick essay for his boss. It's not even like a good like piece. It's an essay. It's literally like he's like, oh crap, my English 102 professor needs me to make an essay on like this kind of expose piece. I'm gonna put it in right. I'm gonna Chat GPT this. Here's my turn, and that's what you're reading on these fucking sites. Not even like actual good reviews. Not even like real journalism reviews. I think it's a good amount of this this Asmon video. Definitely, I don't even think I liked the Asmon video. Let me see this.
And he doesn't do review after 100%.
But yeah, that's the thing. A lot they do reviews after 100%. That's the other thing, is that they put their review out way later. Well, it doesn't get as much of a huge click boom right when something comes out, which is all of these game journalists are trying to get. They're just trying to get click through, click. right? But and so are YouTubers, but they're more willing to wait a certain amount of time before they release their thoughts out. Wait, what do you say? Last time I read like a long is on my job contract. Yeah. It's just recycled BuzzFeed, exactly. I'll never read a game review. Yeah, I will gladly sit for 2+ hours on going over a very specific quest, like Fallout. Oh my god, I think it's a good amount of this video though.
And like,
yeah, definitely. I will link the video because I want to give credit where credit's due. It's Asmon. I mean, people know who Asmon is. Am I? I'm not actually subscribed to Asmon. No, I am. I am subscribed. Okay. I was like confused for a second.